Welcome back, guys, here at We Are Kenami. I'm your host, Jennifer, and we are officially entering season 2. Can you believe that? Already in season 2. In this season, what you're going to be expecting is conversations that I will be having with professionals and talking about the challenges that we face during this time of year. So think about the winter blues, the holiday stress, rushing to get everything done before 2025. I will apologize in advance if you hear any audio quality that might feel off, as well as upcoming videos within these podcast episodes. Also, currently right now, if you're hearing a lot of background noise, it's because of my pets. But anyways, sit back, relax. This is going to be a very heartfelt moment, very humble conversations that I will be having with these professionals. I do have questions that they can answer. Everything's been set in stone. I can't wait for you guys to listen, take some tips with you, hold yourself accountable, find that spark again, that motivation, and also an understanding that you're not alone. You're never alone when it comes to certain topics like these or during these moments as well. I want you to understand that. Do me a favor though, before you start this podcast episode, because we are going to get straight to episode 1 with the Miss Dr. Jennifer Tang, I want you to take a moment to just de-stress. 5 big inhales, 5 big exhales if you can, and then press play. So like I said, we're about to start episode 1 with the Miss Dr. Jennifer Tang, who is a naturopath. And in episode 1, we will be discussing about how to beat the winter blues, or what is winter blues. Anyways, enjoy and see you guys later. Bye. We're going to get started today, guys. It is now season 2 of We Are Kenami podcast. And guys, if I look like a mess, it's because I went on a walking quest to meet the Dr. Jennifer Tang today, okay? So today's topic is about beating winter blues, but before we get started, I want you to do like a brief introduction so people know who is the Dr. Jennifer Tang. Why did I walk all the way here and look like a mess for you? Come on.
So I'm a naturopathic doctor. My focus is primarily on gut and hormones. I find that these two topics are very related to different parts of our body. So let's say it's energy issues we're having or mental health imbalances. These things are all connected back to our gut and hormones. So I find that that's a very important topic for us to touch on. And it kind of relates to what we're going to be talking about today as well.
For sure, because I'm pretty sure a lot of listeners have a lot of questions, especially those who are like going through the whole fall winter season right now. We're going through it, especially because of the whole daylight savings too. So like I said, because our first episode we are talking about beating winter blues, I guess for the listeners, the question is, what is winter blues? Like, what is it?
Yeah, so the more, I guess, scientific, if you will, term for that would be SAD, which stands for seasonal affect disorder. So, you know, a lot of us, even me, I don't know about you, but when the weather changes, I just feel different.
Yes. Yes. It's what I go through. So this is what I usually go through when we're getting into the winter.
Yeah.
I love gray weather. It's weird, but I do go through a transition where it's hard for me to wake up. I find myself more stressed out or a bit more sad in between. Even though I feel my best during the gray season or I feel productive, it's just like that beginning phase where like my body's just going through it. Sometimes not even getting enough sun. It's like, holy crap. Like I feel the symptoms kind of thing. So it's like I usually do go through this like every year, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are. Like I have a couple friends messaging me, or even my clients saying like, this is rough this year. This is probably one of the worst they've ever felt.
Yeah.
Which is, I find pretty interesting. A lot of people try to blend between like the super moons, but I'm like, I don't know, man. It's just a interesting year so far with the whole weather, and it's being on and off, right?
Yeah, I feel like it is a little bit different this year with it feeling like really warm, and then it's like you have the cold.
Yeah, it's just on and off. It's like you see the sun and you're feeling your best, and all of a sudden it's like dark.
And I feel like that makes it worse.
It's like, what's going on?
It's like a little tease, and then
I know it's a damn tease, man. But it's good to know. So now we know that winter blues also means SAD, which is
seasonal affect disorder.
Okay, just wanted her to say it one more time. Is there any common symptoms that you find when you do meet up with clients, or just overall that type of symptom? Is there any common ones?
Yeah, so definitely feeling lower mood, maybe lower motivation as well. feel like sometimes when we are less motivated, we feel like we want to sleep more.
Okay.
So it's like harder to get out of bed, for example, even though we have the daylight saving and it's lighter during the day, like, or in the morning earlier, but I feel like the effect of, you know, the amount of sunlight we get exposed, it's just shortened so much that, like, when people usually finish work around that time, the sun's already gone. So
Facts. It's true. Because when I go to work on the weekends, I start at 9 a.m. So when I wake up, it's dark. I'm in the middle of the work. Sometimes I'll see some sunlight when I'm passing through the hallways. And then when I'm finally done and you want a breather, it's super dark again.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God. So it's good to know that those are the common symptoms. Is there anything else you want to add in between, like the first two questions, or?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. All right. So the next question, and guys, if you're watching me side eye a little bit, is because I'm looking at a whiteboard right now just to make sure we're on track, because I'm the one that will lose track. The next one is, are there any natural remedies or supplements that you would recommend to our listeners, but also our viewers?
Yeah, for sure. I think that vitamin D is something that we need to look into. Vitamin D, of course, we get from the sun, but here in North America, even in the summertime, if you're out every day in the sun, you're still probably not consuming or absorbing enough vitamin D.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I think people get that feel of like, oh, if I'm outside during the summer, I don't need to take my vitamin D. But the truth is, we don't absorb as much vitamin D through the skin as much as we think.
Okay.
So in the wintertime, that's even more pronounced, right? So one important thing about vitamin D, though, is that it's a fat-soluble vitamin, which means that if you have too much, it does accumulate in the body.
Okay.
And there is such thing as vitamin D toxicity. So if you have that, that can start impacting negatively on your kidneys. So it's really important to get your vitamin D levels checked so that you know how much vitamin D you need to take.
Okay. So it's like basically before that person takes a supplement, just get it checked first.
Absolutely.
And then go from there.
Yeah.
Would you recommend that they see their doctor to do blood work, or should they just see their naturopath just to make sure?
Yeah.
It might be a weird question to ask, because sometimes, like, with my experience, and I don't want it to make it a con or anything, but sometimes a doctor might say just take it but not really explain further. So what would you suggest for a person who wants to make sure their levels are correct with the vitamin D?
Yeah, because I think patient advocacy is something that you're kind of mentioning, where sometimes we do get dismissed. That's with any doctor, and I've had that experience before too. So I will encourage my patients, if they have, you know, regular physical every year kind of thing, to ask their doctor about checking vitamin D. Typically it's not insured by OHIP anyways, which is where we live in Ontario, but if you're out of Ontario, that would just depend on their regulations, but typically vitamin D is uninsured.
Okay.
But, you know, if they're having issues getting that requisition, then I could definitely order that. I order vitamin D testing for most of my patients.
That's good to know. Yeah, I did not know that. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
What about when it comes to not just supplements? Let's just say there are people that are a little hesitant on taking it. Is there any like mood boosting type of foods that you would recommend instead? Like, it's just a different alternative.
Yeah, for sure. I think using food as medicine is so important, and I think the way that the food industry is lately with all the processed foods, I think it's very convenient for people, but it's not the healthiest blend of things. There's so much that, for example, processed food has a lot of corn in it. So I find that when we eat processed foods, we also don't absorb and break down corn as great.
Okay.
And you can kind of, I was gonna say.
Okay. I'm like, I'm a girl that loves corn. I'm not gonna say too much information on that, but yes, I agree.
Because you can see it later.
Maybe.
know what I mean.
Oh my god. Okay.
So with that being said, you can just imagine when we are having more processed foods that does have corn in it, we're probably not absorbing and digesting those foods as great.
Okay.
So avoiding processed foods, I think that makes a huge impact on our mood and feeling the winter blues. That could contribute as well, because we're just like, it's like, it might taste good at the time, but the aftermath of feeling so tired and just out of it is.
It makes sense. It makes sense because not only when we do experience winter blues, we're also going through a lot of like the holiday season.
Oh yeah.
So I know, like a person like myself, I'm very prone to wanting to eat the chips, especially this like the sweets and everything, especially chocolate and cookies. Mm-hmm. So now I know, well, also the listeners and viewers, is to try their best to limit the processed foods.
Absolutely.
Because I definitely see the effects. I'm not gonna lie. This month. I told Dr. Jen what I've been eating. Oh my god. Anything else that you would recommend though? Like
when I talk to my patients, I find that a lot of us have trouble including enough servings of fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
I feel like, obviously protein and healthy fats are important, but having enough fiber is also very important too. So having the variety in the fruits and vegetables is the thing that provides us with those vitamins and minerals. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're not really taking a multivitamin, that's where we get all of our vitamins and minerals from fruits and vegetables. So if you're not having enough servings, there should be several servings in a day that you should have of vegetables.
Okay.
During this time, because it's cold too, I feel like a really nice thing to do is make, if you like soups, that would be a great meal idea, because you can just put a bunch of vegetables in, add your protein in, and then it's easy, and you can meal prep that, freeze it. That's what I recommend for a lot of my patients, because the warm cooked foods are what nourishes our body and makes us feel a little bit of that boost in mood too.
Okay, I actually like that. Yeah. Taking notes, guys. Taking notes. So besides the supplements and like perhaps like an accommodation with foods, this might be a little bit, I wouldn't say off topic, it's still part of the winter blues, but would you recommend, or do you have any suggestions when it comes to meditation, deep breathing, or even mindfulness during the winter season? Is there anything that you would suggest, or any homework?
Absolutely. I think working our minds, our brain is a muscle at the end of the day, so working that out is essential. It's as essential as working out your body at the gym, kind of thing.
Okay.
So I feel like keeping in tune with our bodies, making time for mindfulness, because when we are having less sunlight and that's impacting our mood, we want to make time and space for us to exercise our brains in the way of maybe like meditation, or maybe it's going to a nice yoga class. Me personally, I like to do hot yoga.
Okay.
I feel like that's nice in the winter time, especially because it's so cold out.
Yeah.
And then you just feel more. It's like a nice.
Yeah, and then after that reality check when you have to go back outside
and it's freezing.
I do find a lot of my clients like to do a lot of hot yoga during the winter. Another thing is trying hot Pilates. Like they're a little hesitant, but they're starting to do that.
Yeah.
One thing that some of my clients are starting to do are like mini runs here or there, Stairmaster. It would help them clear their mind. Anything else, like any other practices that you would suggest for that person?
I think maybe this has come into more, it's gotten more attention, I feel, over the past year, but like red light therapy could be helpful too. Or just like, having, there are lamps and stuff that you can get that mimic, sun.
I've seen those ones.
Yeah.
I've seen those ones.
And some people just have it on their desk while they're working. And that just helps to boost a little bit of, not necessarily vitamin D you'll get from those artificial lights, but the effects on your mental health, I feel like that it portrays the same as sunlight would. So that might be a little bit better than, you know, being in an enclosed space, especially if you don't have much windows where you're at. I know a lot, like most of, actually all of the places that I work at,
just barely.
There's no sunlight that I see. So I don't even know if it's like,
what's the weather like?
Yeah,
we don't know.
I ask my patients all the time. Is it
Why are
nice
you
out?
quiet? Like, what's going on? No,
Yeah.
it's true. It's true. I think for myself, one thing that I do during the winter is go to tanning beds, and it's not so much of trying to get another shade. It's just sometimes I just do maybe 5 minutes, and it just helps me just relax. So I don't know if that's something that you've ever recommended or someone's ever told you before, but I know like that's what helps me. Like I feel sometimes when I'm stressed, I'll go in there during the winter, and then when I come out, I'm super zen and I don't want to talk. Like, I'm good.
I think if that works for you, that's great. I typically don't recommend it for the UVA and UVB, like those precautions. But I feel like, you know, the way that you're doing it, 5 minutes, it's not like you're there for a full session.
Yeah, it's not so much for the color. It's just more of to just help my mood. There are certain people that I have come across, or even influencers that's talked about it years before. When they do go through like the winter blues, sometimes they hit the tanning bed just to feel a bit better, and then that's it. So I'm not too sure if that's something that you would suggest, but
yeah,
seems like, guys, you are doing it. Don't do it for too long, okay? Don't do it for too long.
Because I've seen actually those full body light therapies that you can do. Some people do it for like skin issues, because I know during this time, eczema, psoriasis, those get worse.
Yes.
Because you're not, you know, sometimes sunlight helps psoriasis and light exposure. So some of my patients will do like a full body light therapy. Okay. But if it's indicated for, you know, SAD, seasonal affect disorder, I feel like that would be a good alternative too.
Okay. We're learning, man. We're learning a lot. This is good.
Yeah.
This is good. But now when it comes to sleep,
yeah,
there are people who are either sleeping way too much during the whole winter season, or there's a lack of sleep. So with both variations, what is something that you would suggest to just help improve, just I guess like both people that are either sleeping too much or sleeping less? Yes.
So sleeping too much, I feel like is when we also have less motivation, because we just don't want to get out of bed.
Yeah, not at all.
Also, if it's dark out when we're waking up, that's hard too, because part of waking up and telling the body that it's time to get up is the exposure to sunlight, because that gets your cortisol going and all that. So I've seen some people there's alarm clocks that have a built-in sun.
Oh my god, I've seen those ones. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want to get one.
Yeah.
I kind of want to get one.
Yeah.
It looks nice.
It looks, I feel like there's lots of benefits to that if you think about it, because before, when we had more sunlight during, you know, the morning and nighttime, I would suggest patients to get outside just for, even if it's like 5 minutes, on your balcony or on your front porch, or just getting outside for 5 minutes, being exposed with the sunlight can help wake up your body and get that boost in cortisol. And it's a good start to the day. But obviously when it's dark out, we can't do that. So having alternatives like that with the alarm clocks that kind of, you know, when you set the timer on to when you wake up, there's this burst of
it slowly just gets later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like a natural progression of how it should be when you're waking up.
Okay.
Because it's hard to get up when it's dark. So that would be a good kind of idea to help with getting motivated to get out of bed, and also telling your body with the hormones that it's producing that, the cortisol should get going now.
Okay.
But not getting enough sleep. I think all stems from sleep hygiene too, because as we are facing the winter blues, I find that maybe because we're stuck inside more, we might increase screen time.
Yeah.
And that's something that obviously impacts the melatonin production that initiates sleep, and that can be a huge interference with our sleep cycle.
Okay.
So trying to limit your screen time as much as possible, because the blue light is very intense with the contrast of how dark it is at night.
Okay. So it's like okay, so that actually makes sense. With my own experience, there's times where I do feel sleepy and I do need to go to bed, but I'm one of those that will pull up the phone and then I'm wide awake after.
Yes.
So that makes sense. So guys, if you are on your screen a lot, just start limiting it. Do a different hobby, read a book, do a puzzle, draw something, you know? What about like, because you did mention about those alarm clocks with the light. I don't know how much it costs. Maybe there's ones that are a little cheaper or anything, but in case someone doesn't want that, is there anything else that you would recommend for someone that's having a hard time waking up?
I always recommend sort of having one of those lamps beside you.
Okay.
So for example, when you're going to bed, you're not exposing yourself to too much light. So for example, if you are going to read a book at night, you need some sort of light.
Okay.
But having your full room lit up is probably not the best idea because of the interruption again with melatonin. So I always recommend kind of like a dim lamp that you have. I have a lamp that has different settings, and I also have like a salt lamp. So it's like not blinding to the eye, but it's enough light that you can get your things done.
Yeah.
So maybe just turning that on and not looking at your phone first thing in the morning, getting exposed to light that way perhaps.
All right, going back, sorry, we had a little bit of an interruption with the camera. So going back, so talking about the lamps, the salt lamp, do you remember?
Yes. Good reminder.
Yeah.
Having some sort of lamp that is maybe dimly lit can wake the body up a little bit. And then sometimes I find that showers in the morning help wake you up.
Yes.
Because you get that response from your body that, you know, it's time to get up, and I feel like that wakes me up all the time if I'm feeling really tired one morning. But yeah, I find that also when speaking of, you know, you're saying picking up on a different hobby, I've never been one to read. Even as a kid, like I've had lots of books, but I find that in my adult years, I've tried to read a lot of like self-help books, which have been helpful. Like they're really good perspectives on how to change your mind and your mindset and everything. But I find that when it comes to night reading, it's not something I would love to do. So for me, I find that now I'm changing to fictional books.
Okay.
Just like not just self-help books, right? Just things with a storyline and things to keep me distracted, kind of. That is what puts me to sleep. Like it helps.
That's hilarious.
Just like calm down and not overwork the brain.
Yeah, that's funny. For myself, one thing that keeps me relaxed, and it's a way to just tell my body, okay, we're gonna relax. The mental and everything needs to shut down before we go to bed. I tend to do my stretches while I'm watching cartoon or something, like The Simpsons. Or if I'm watching TV, I'm stretching.
Yeah.
I'm stretching, I'm doing something, because that's what helps me calm down entirely. Only because I'm the kind of person that's always like on the go and my mind's always rushing. Just that 10, 15 minutes on the floor and doing something that's making me feel better.
Oh yeah.
It just, my body's like super calm. So there, like guys, like while you're listening or even watching this video, just find something that works for you that can help you wake up. Like guys, wake up or go to sleep, okay? We're giving you options. We're explaining these options, but you also gotta find what works for you too.
Yeah, it's definitely different for everybody.
Everybody is different. So the last thing now, because of all these the questions that we've asked, we've went over what is winter blues, common symptoms, like the supplements or foods. Is there anything that we've missed that you also want to share to the listeners or viewers?
I find that going through this time is so rough. Like, even on my drive to work today, I was just thinking, wow, the winter is coming, you know?
Yeah. Give it through.
It's coming.
Yeah.
And then I think, I don't know, today I was just thinking about how did we survive last year, kind of thing. And what did we do, what kind of tactics did we do to get over that? And I feel like a lot of the times we can feel really lonely. I feel that things really changed since the pandemic.
Yeah, a lot's changed. Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of us maybe don't feel as comfortable reaching out as much because we're so stuck in a certain way that we had to live, right? So being restricted and not being able to go out and all of that. So I feel like, you know, that's maybe as years go on, it gets a little bit harder. And like you were saying, I've had a lot of patients tell me that they're really feeling it this year already.
Yeah, it's a very different, I guess for myself, I'll say different energy. Like, it's a different vibe the past couple of weeks. People are a little bit off. Everyone seems to be very, like, in a negative tone, depressed. It's just something's happening. There's a bit of a shift that I'm noticing. But one thing I try to do, I know for myself, especially when I have to deal with clients, is try not to affect me. It's I understand holidays are coming, it's getting darker, it's hard for everybody, but it can't affect me throughout my day, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I find that, speaking of like the holidays, that can be mixed emotions for a lot of people. Like for myself, I'm like grieving my mom, so holidays are like, it's like a happy time, but then it's also a really sad time. So I feel like that can make things worse too. Or like, let's say, you know, someone has lost somebody close to them, or maybe they're going through a breakup, or maybe they're missing a friend that they used to be really close with.
So my puppy's in the little room right now. He wanted to be included. It's okay.
But I feel that plus the layer of having the winter blues is that much harder. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like overall it's just having support and feeling like you're supported in other ways too, with your health especially, because I feel like that's something that people put on the back burner.
Yes.
And a lot of my patients, even probably clients you see, they're always like, you know what, I should have gone to you a long time ago. Like, I should have taken care of myself a long time ago. But then you keep pushing forward and going through that fight or flight until
you basically crash.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it does happen, and sometimes people will go through a very, I wouldn't say burnt out phase, but their mental crashes. It's something that I have gone through multiple times where I had to learn the hard way. So that is understandable. So basically, guys, one thing to do during like this whole winter blues holiday season especially is reach out to a friend, family member, maybe even be part of a support group, community that's going to have your back, that feels safe for you. Go vent out, open up. Even if you're a little too shy to do it in front of people you know, just find another alternative where you can just express. Journal, maybe just draw something that's going to just give out that outlet, so not everything's going to get bottled in, you know? So if you guys have any questions or you want to reach out, I will like put her tag in the description, her website, all the information. Again, Dr. Jennifer Tang, guys. We're Jennifers. We're in a podcast together. I forgot to introduce myself.
Come on, Jennifer Square.
Oh my god.
We're Jennifer Square.
We're Jennifers, guys. We gotta do the fusion. No, we gotta do fusion. We're doing it.
Yeah, we do.
No, like, we're doing the fusion.
What does that even mean?
The fusion!
What is that?
It's Dragon Ball Z! Stop! We're Jennifers, come on! podcast. Listen, we're doing the fusion. We're doing it. We're doing it. Oh my God. We're doing it. Oh my God. Anyways, thank you. Thank you so much for joining this episode, for, talking more about the winter blues. Hopefully you guys listening or watching, you collected some information or even tips that you guys can take home with you. Share it to your family or friends who are probably going through this. But yeah, thank you so much for joining.
Of course.
All right. Take care, guys.
Bye.